Hey friends, Mario Cavallo here. 亲爱的朋友，我是马义俊. Okay, in this video, very specifically, I want to tell you what we're doing. In this video, we are going to discuss, right here, we are going to discuss Washington Post, Josh Rogin, January 22nd article that just came out day after the Biden inauguration. And the title of the article is China Threw Down the Gauntlet to the Biden Team on Day 1. What is Josh Rogin talking about? And by the way, he says, but it won't work. This is an amazing article, a great article to start off the Biden administration. I have to say that I respect Josh Rogin, but I'm going to slice his article to pieces here, okay, which is really, really important. He's making the same flawed assumptions that other writers are making. He's not writing an article that's an anti-China article. I'm not saying that at all. That's not what he's doing specifically. He's not trying to be an anti-China hater, but he's painting China in a light by making statements that are just not true. You know, it's just like a disaster, right? So here we go. We're going to run through this. It's probably going to take 10, 15 minutes. 4 minutes past noon on Wednesday, President Biden was still delivering his inaugural address. The Chinese government announced sanctions against 28 former U.S. officials and their families. Beijing was not simply kicking the Trump team on its way out the door. The Chinese leadership is trying to bully and threaten the incoming administration into reversing course, but it won't work. Okay, see, the opening article is already wrong in its perspective. Okay. The Chinese leadership is trying to bully and threaten the incoming administration into reversing course. No, that assumes that there was any truth. Okay, let me explain it to you this way. If you grossly and disgracefully lie and slander about me, I definitely would not let you come to my house. China is fed up. They're not going to tolerate you, Pompeo, Trump, and the rest, okay, telling the world bold-faced, disgraceful, absolutely untrue lies. Hua Chunying, Zhao Lijian, and everybody else, all the U.S. consuls have replied to this again and again and again. You say there's a genocide in Xinjiang. This is like a joke. It's a joke. It's not even close to being true. You say there's forced labor, forced abortions, forced sterilizations. This is nonsense. And this is what Pompeo went out the door screaming about. It's just incredible. Think about it for a minute. If somebody was calling you a baby killer and you aren't a baby killer, I know what it's like to be falsely accused of something very, very bad. I'll tell you, that's an ugly feeling. Okay? So this is not about China trying to bully and threaten the incoming administration into reversing course. This is just about bold-faced lies. Okay? There's nothing to do with anything else. It's China telling them very, very clearly that shit better stop. And I couldn't agree more. Okay? Diplomacy-wise, we see the Biden administration reversing course in the right and proper ways, which indicates that they're going to be more smoother with China than Trump. But how can you not be more smooth with China than Trump or Pompeo? I mean, it couldn't have been any worse. They did everything short of actually dropping a bomb. Okay? Meaning the Biden administration this morning via Dr. Fauci announcing that they are rejoining the WHO and that they're going to be part of COVAX to bring vaccines to lower income countries. Why would the United States do that? Because China's doing that. So, yeah, the United States needs and wants to compete with China. Finally, I would much prefer to see America do its best to compete with China rather than try to contain the uncontainable, which is impossible, by trying to destroy China, by demonizing China. Do you know, honestly, the Trump and Pompeo administration and the rest have spent the last few years, especially the last year, treating Chinese like Hitler treating Jews. They are horrible. They need to be destroyed. Folks, I'm in China, the world's largest, safest, stable, successful, and capable country on the planet. That's not any Hitler wanting to destroy Jews. There ain't nothing bad happening here, like you're hearing about. Okay? I can't make that clear enough. By commencing the new bilateral relationship with a provocative escalation, Beijing, it's not an escalation, it's a response. Again, and he does this repeatedly in the article, this is not the China administration escalating. This is the China administration defending itself against escalations. There was a final 24-hour, 72-hour provocative escalation by Pompeo. It was a whirlwind of insanity of anti-China accusations. America did the provocative escalation. This is not China doing a provocative escalation. This is China defending itself and responding to a provocative escalation. So this is where I'm saying I don't see it Josh Rogin's way. Beijing is attempting to warn incoming Biden administration officials they could suffer personal costs if they dare run afoul of the Chinese Communist Party's delicate and paranoid sensibilities. I have nothing to say. Josh Rogin's a great writer. Good for him. He writes really well, but this is it's just good writing. It's more of the same. China sanctioned former Secretary of State Pompeo, 2 former national security advisors, outgoing Pottinger. Pottinger was an anti-China rabid bad person. I don't want to say curse words. And Beijing justified the move by claiming its targets had planned, promoted, executed a series of crazy moves, greatly interfering in China's internal affairs. Yes, starting with Pompeo. And former what? Because why against the Tsar? Because he visited Taiwan, and Kraft was sanctioned for simply planning to visit Taiwan. Good. Yes, that's part of American provocation against China. You have no business provoking the situation with Taiwan. It's not your affair. Stay out of it. Taiwan is a province of China. Thank you. So Rogin says, substantively, the sanctions are meaningless. Yeah, okay. But they send the right message. They send the right message. They send the right message. Keep my eyes here on the lens and the document. The true intent of the sanctions is to target incoming officials. An audacious attempt to intimidate them against continuing any of Trump's policies. Again, no. It's not an audacious attempt to intimidate them against continuing any of Trump's policies. They weren't policies. Declaring the state of Missouri a pariah isn't a policy. It's insanity. You see? It's not a policy. So Beijing is indicating they don't respect what Trump, Pompeo, and the rest were doing. That's not the same thing. Pompeo's final, as to these examples, Pompeo's final sin was to declare Tuesday that the Chinese government is committing genocide and crimes against humanity against Uyghurs and other ethnic minorities. Again, if I was the foreign ministry, I would be, and they have repeatedly replied to this as these statements are lunacy, and they are. Besides the pandemic restrictions, which are everywhere in the world, fly to Xinjiang and go see. The population has risen by 25. Uyghur population has gone up by 25%. I guess that's the new definition of genocide, where you kill people and there's dead bodies strewn. China's foreign ministry called his determination nothing but paper. He's making himself a laughing stock and a clown. It's correct. If China's leaders were paying better attention to their new Biden administration counterparts, they would recognize the strong arm strategy is doomed to fail. Okay, All right, no, I don't. Obviously, I don't agree. It's the purpose of my video. On Tuesday, incoming Secretary of State Blinken, oh yeah, there's this story, testified to the Senate that he agreed with Pompeo's genocide determination. I will admit that's problematic. I don't know where Blinken's coming from on that and why he formally said that he agrees with Pompeo's genocide determination, but as indicated by my closed arms and squinted eyes looking at the screen, I would agree that that's problematic. Okay? Okay. So we'll see what happens. Biden campaign made that decision after a full internal debate back in August, my sources said. Okay. See, the Biden campaign made that decision after a full internal debate back in August. See, this is real. This is problematic, this part, because there is no genocide happening. So the fact that they agreed with it is just freaking insanity. There's nothing that even resembles. It's like telling you that the sky in Missouri is red, not blue. It's just like, it's insanity, and that's what China's response is telling the world. We're not going to put up with this insanity. Blinken, whose opening statement recounted his family's history of escaping the Holocaust, good. There's nothing like that happening in China. And Rogin pogroms, good. There's nothing like that happening in China. Is not likely to reverse course and to ignore a genocide after being threatened. There is no genocide. In fact, Beijing's bullying makes it more difficult to do so. That was the CCP's major miscalculation. Again, I don't think it was a miscalculation at all. They absolutely did the right thing. Beijing's second error is thinking the Biden team disagrees with the Trump administration's fundamental stance toward China. Unprompted, Blinken told senators that Trump's basic principle was the right one, that the U.S. was right in taking a tougher approach to China. Yeah, I'll go along with that. I was going along with that from the very beginning when Trump first said we need to be tougher on China, but meaning we need to negotiate better. We need to go back and negotiate older deals, and we need to be tougher in our economic competition with them. And that's absolutely right. That's not accusing a company of genocide. It's like accusing, dude, it's like the way that I want to compete with you. Okay, I'm a jazz pianist. Okay, and I am. I love playing jazz piano. I do that too in my entertainment artist side of my life. I'm a jazz pianist. I'm here in Shenyang. I'm like one of maybe 3 jazz pianists here in town. We're in Northeast China. There's not a lot of jazz pianists up here. I want to get rid of the other jazz pianist in town. I don't want anybody to hire his ass. So I start accusing him of being a murderer and a rapist, and he likes little girls. You just start saying bad shit about somebody like that. Do you see what I mean? That's crazy. And that's what the Trump administration and Fox News and everybody else in that whole circle was doing. It's a disaster, and it's dangerous. And the Chinese government is telling the Biden administration, this shit better not continue. Okay, good. Top incoming Asia officials are focused on competition, not a return to engagement in the hope of smooth relations. Bullshit. Okay, we'll see. One guy here says tough on China. One guy there says tough on China. Fine. Listen, there is the hope for better engagement in the hope of smooth relations. Lots of people hope for that. The U.S.-China Business Council hopes for that. The American Chamber of Commerce all over the world, especially in China and Asia Pacific, hopes for that. Lots of government officials hope for that and want that. Okay? Hunter Biden wants that. Lots of people want that. Moreover, any officials inside Biden world who might have argued that Beijing was interested in playing nice have now been preemptively discredited. I don't agree. This was not Beijing not playing nice. This was Beijing drawing a line in the sand saying, again, it's just, I'm perfectly happy to play nice with you. Stop accusing me of being an axe murderer. I'm not going to put up with that. That doesn't mean I'm not playing nice. I'm happy to sit with you and play nice. I'm happy to pour you a nice cup of Liu Bao tea. I have one sitting on my desk. And let's talk, and let's work things out, and let's engage. China's definitely saying that. China, in fact, again, Hua Chunying Zhao Lijian, and Wang Yi have all sent messages out. We wish to see the Biden administration be the new opportunity for global partnership and collaboration and relations return to normal. This move by China to sanction the officials accusing them of being baby murderers and serial killers is not them not being nice. Okay? It's them drawing a line in the sand. It's become my favorite line lately. Guofenla. Okay? Pompeo, Trump, these guys. Way Guofenla. Over the line. That's Chinese for over the line. Guofenla. Moreover, meanwhile, the Chinese government is reinvigorating its effort. This is the part of Josh Rogin's article which makes me personally not like him. That's how bad it is. But again, of course, Josh he's good, but this is right here where he's so off base. Meanwhile, the Chinese government is reinvigorating its efforts to spread conspiracy theories about the sources of COVID-19. The Chinese government is doing no such thing. Calling for an investigation into the U.S. Army fort, while, yes, lots of people are saying if the WHO is going into China to search for the sources of COVID-19 in China, the WHO should be going into every country, France, Germany, Italy, and America, where many reports of the COVID-19 existed way before Wuhan. You know that this is not a conspiracy theory. These are reports. U.S. CDC Director, congressional testimony, Robert Redfield said it. So I don't know why Rogin must know this. So why is he saying that the China is making efforts to spread conspiracy theories about the sources of COVID-19? They're doing nothing of the sort. Nothing of the sort. They're simply calling for follow-up investigation into the countries that they themselves have reported. We have detected COVID-19 in our country way before Wuhan. So calling for those to be investigated is spreading conspiracy theories? Of course it's not. So this is where Rogin falls flat on his face. He shouldn't have, this paragraph should be deleted. I can't believe his editors let it stay. Calling for an investigation into U.S. Army Fort Detrick, he's referring to Fort Detrick, while thwarting attempts to investigate the origins of the virus in Wuhan. They're not thwarting attempts to investigate the origins of the virus in Wuhan. What is he talking about? The Chinese didn't allow WHO team into China. We read this 3 weeks ago. They were told it's just time. It's just time to process the visas and the COVID testing and the paperwork and the quarantine plans. That's all it was. And sure enough, a few days later, they were let in. And then there was another headline. Two WHO scientists were refused entry into China. That was the headline. Because they were tested positive for COVID-19 at the border. The other 13 WHO team members were let in. You see, so what is he talking about when he says thwarting attempts to investigate the origins of the virus in Wuhan? There's no thwarting of attempts whatsoever. Beijing is also spreading lies about U.S. vaccines. No, it's not. To muddy truth-telling about the problems with China's own vaccine. No, it's not. These are just bold-faced, incorrect statements. In Brazil, they're talking about one. I'm so happy to clarify this for you. There's two vaccines, Sinopharm and Sinovac. Not one, two. Two Chinese vaccines, Sinopharm and Sinovac. Okay? I might get the two mixed up here, but okay, the Sinovac one is shown to be 78% effective and 98% effective. The Sinopharm one, according to Brazil, in one particular phase 3 trial, only showed slightly more than 50% efficacy. But that group, which is still acceptable, by the way, but that group was only high-risk, high-exposure medical workers in which the vaccine was shown to be less. Any vaccine would have lower efficacy if it was tested on and trialed on high-risk medical workers who are getting more exposure to the virus. That would be true of any of the vaccines, including Pfizer and Moderna's. Senior CCP members are also ramping up threats regarding Taiwan. Probably true. Senior CCP members aren't screwing around when it comes to Taiwan. Taiwan is a province of China. Taiwan always will be a province of China, and that's the end of that. Get over it. And the U.S. has no business interfering in that. China's new sanctions on Americans are actually very helpful since they identify which of Trump's policies have been effective. They weren't policies. Again, accusing your neighbor state, Missouri, of being a baby killer, serial killer, baby hacking serial killer isn't a policy. It's insanity. It's not a way to govern. And that's what the United States government was doing for the last year. Just ridiculous. To grossly slander and libel someone. It's just incredible. Beijing sanctioned former Undersecretary of State Keith Krach, 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 who led an effort to keep untrusted vendors out of international 5G infrastructure called the Clean Network Initiative. Krach told me Beijing hates that program because it joins the United States with allies. When you confront a bully, they back down, especially when your friends are by your side. Whatever. Okay. Krach led an effort to keep untrusted vendors out of the international 5G infrastructure called the Clean Network Initiative. This is like a joke. Okay. The Pompeo Clean Network Initiative was an initiative of companies who were the least clean companies in the world. Okay, Alcatel, whoever the hell they are, Microsoft, all the companies. Oh my God, my brain just went blank for a moment. All American brands in the Clean Initiative are required by U.S. law, okay, and the NSA to install backdoors in their hardware and software so that the NSA can spy on you and has constant access to your data. Do you understand? If you call that a clean network of trusted vendors, okay, fine. I don't know how to help you out here because that ain't clean and they sure as hell ain't trusted. Okay? So untrusted vendors, who would that be? Well, that would be obviously Huawei, right? Well, why is Huawei being called an untrusted vendor? Because they refuse to agree to allow the NSA, the back doors into their hardware and software put in so that the NSA could keep track of everybody. Huawei wouldn't play. That's why they attacked and vilified Huawei. This is known fact, folks, not my personal opinion. So it's just nonsense. To be sure, Trump administration's China approach, we're almost done. To be sure, Trump administration's China approach was over-politicized and needlessly antagonistic, but its actual policies were responses to China's actions. Again, that's completely untrue. Not aggressions in and of themselves. There was no China's actions. He's referring to China's actions: genocide, forced labor, forced sterilization, and these human rights abuses. They don't exist. I've said that 17 times in the video. Sorry for repeating it again. Without the Trump administration's boorishness to point to, China's familiar game of gaslighting and false equivalence is even more transparent. Again, this is amazing to me. This is not China's gaslighting and false equivalence. All of this is China defending itself against United States gaslighting and false equivalence. They've done nothing but lie and lie and lie and lie about China. Okay. To its credit, the incoming Biden team correctly recognized Beijing's latest gambit as an attempt to play partisan divides. Yes, I'll go along with that. Yeah, I'd definitely go along with that. Play the partisan divides, because everyone on that side of the divide was out of their freaking minds with these insane libel, slanderous and libelous accusations. Okay, so I guess you could say they played that side of it. Americans of both parties should criticize this unproductive and cynical move. Blah, that's just public statements. It wasn't an unproductive move, and it wasn't a cynical move. It was a move demanding respect. Now that Biden has shown its cards, hopefully, now that Beijing has shown its cards, yes, hopefully the Biden team won't have to go through a torturous period of trying and failing to reset relations. No, it's not going to be torturous at all. Again, Zhao Lijian, Wang Yi, Hua Chunying, they've all made it crystal clear they welcome reasonable relations, which doesn't include you calling me a baby killer or whatever other outrageous, disgraceful accusation you're going to make. Contentious competition will be the focus of U.S.-China relations for the next 4 years. Yeah, it needs to be competition, and I'm going to wrap it up on that. That's the problem. The U.S. is behind China. China is, without a question, the world's largest, safest, stable, successful, and capable country on the planet. The U.S. cannot, by what its previous policy, which wasn't even a policy, it was just a disgrace, of demonizing China, which is a wonderful country of the safest people in the world. 1.4 billion people safe. You go out the door, walk on the street, you don't worry about anything. Very, very little violence, crime, guns. No guns. It's just incredible. Okay? You can't contain the uncontainable. China's capability. Read the books. A lot of books out there on how it's just insane how. You don't believe me? Go to McKinsey China. Okay? Read Sean Ryan's 3 books on China. Listen, man. China's capability is off the chart. Okay? And the Biden administration knows that. You can't contain the unattainable. You're not going to destroy China like Trump was thinking he was going to do. That was an election strategy. Do you understand? That was a re-election strategy. It was not reality. Okay? You cannot contain the uncontainable. All right? You have to compete with China. You have to do your best to compete with China. So in that respect, we're going to have contentious competition. Good. That's the only way forward for the United States. Okay? Which itself, as a country, has its own massive problems brought on by its own corrupt, ruinous, political, and elite class of people. Don't blame China. I'm done for today. Everybody, please, I want you to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share my videos. Check out all my other videos. 3 topics I'm on. I'm talking about China. I tell you up front, this video is about China. But I'm also an entertainer and an artist. I got my Dragon Quartz Audio product, which is related to China. My project related to China, about Chinese audiophile products and equipment. We have that conversation. I tell you if the video is about that. Okay? So the topics are very, very clear, primarily in those 2 areas. All right? Enjoy. Check out my other videos. Thanks very much. We'll catch you later.